Oh, Auto-Tune, one of the music industry's most beloved yet divisive tools at our disposal. So many of us are using Auto-Tune and other vocal tuning software today, but the thing that I've seen when working with different clients is a lot of people don't understand tuning, and a lot of them make very common mistakes that are easy to avoid. And that's what I wanted to address in today's video. I wanted to specifically highlight 5 common vocal tuning mistakes that you should look out for and avoid. And if you are making these mistakes, I'm going to show you or tell you how to correct them. Are you ready? Let's go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video. I'm really excited to talk about these 5 common mistakes that a lot of artists make when tuning vocals. This is stuff that I've seen all the time when I'm mixing for other people, and I wanted to highlight them today specifically for you. But I wanted to just make sure you know that whether or not I address a specific plugin is not really relevant. I might be talking a lot about Auto-Tune and Melodyne because those are tools that I use, but this is really going to be applicable to most vocal tuning software, whether it's Waves Tune or the stuff from MLDA or all different kinds of other companies. It really doesn't matter what you're using. What really matters is how you're thinking about it and how you're approaching solving the problem, which is fixing out of tune vocals. So with that in mind, let's start talking about the first mistake that a lot of artists make, and that is not understanding how tuning works in the first place. Vocal tuning is very much a what you give is what you get scenario. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, you're going to set your tuner to match the key of the beat or instrumental that you're recording to, and then you're going to sing along with it, and that tuner is going to decide if you're close enough to the notes that actually match the scale of the beat, and it's going to push or pull and pull it up or down to the right note to match that beat at the end of the day. If I'm trying to sing a note and it's in between notes that are actually supposed to be in the key of the track itself, it'll pull it up, for example, to correct it. Ultimately, what you want to do is you want to understand that what you sing, what you give, is what you're going to get out of the vocal tuner, and the more off you are, the heavier the tune is going to be applied. And that leads me to the second mistake that a lot of people make, which is they apply vocal tuning after recording. The truth is you should actually be recording with your tuning on, and the reason why is because, again, it's a give and get situation, and you're going to be able to instantly know and audition your vocal and hear what it's going to sound like roughly when it's tuned. Now, what I'm saying here is not actually committing the vocal tuning to audio as you record, but instead you're going to put your vocal tuner on your record track, and you can easily bypass it or take it out and hear the untuned vocal, of course, but you're going to apply it to that record track, and in doing so, you're going to be able to get an idea of what the final product is going to sound like, and at the same time, you're going to know whether or not what you're doing, the way you're singing into the tuner, is good or bad, because if you're, singing into it incorrectly or really off and it's heavy tuning and you don't want a heavy tune sound, well, then you have to tighten up your technique and sing that part a little bit better, right? But at the same time, if you're singing into it and it's sounding exactly like you want, you're good. You don't have to really worry. But the thing is, you're able to know in real time right away what you should do, whether you should re-record, whether it's good to go. And of course, you could dial this up and take it a step further in post-production. You can, of course, swap out the vocal tuner and do something different. Do maybe a more intricate tuning or a lighter tuning. You could be more intricate with the graph mode and doing all that stuff. You kind of get the idea here. But what I'm ultimately saying is make sure that you are recording into your tuner so you understand what the final product is roughly going to sound like and whether or not you are actually on or off key and how that's affecting the final product. Before I continue with the next mistake, I wanted to say if you're getting value out of this video, if you like what you're seeing, if you're learning something new, please smash that like button. It would mean so much to me, and it would help other people like you benefit from this knowledge because the YouTube algorithm will start showing it to more people. And at the same time, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I drop a new piece of content every single week, always focused on helping you sound better and helping you make more money with your music. If you want help with these 2 key areas, I definitely encourage you to subscribe so I can help you with that. With that in mind, let's continue talking about the next mistake. Now, the third mistake that a lot of artists make when it comes to vocal tuning is they don't use graph mode. So a lot of us are just going to throw on an auto tune or a waves tune or one of these plugins, just dial in some settings, and we're going to leave it at that. Well, the thing is, sometimes those tuners, they don't actually catch specific parts, or maybe they just don't know to tune them a specific way. Maybe you're singing right between a G and an F and you want it to go to the G, but for some reason it keeps pulling it down to the F. Well, in that situation, unless you bypass the F, which could create some other problems, you may not be able to achieve the sound that you want, the tune sound that you want. So in that case, you have to manually go in and edit these things, and that's where graph mode comes in handy. You can manually grab specific notes, specific phrases, and pull them or push them wherever direction you want to the right or appropriate note. And not only that, they usually offer a little bit more control over things like vibrato, some wiggle in your voice, or some other intonation problems that may come up. Now, me personally, I love to use Melodyne first on my tuned vocals, and I'll manually tune certain things, wiggle, all that stuff, the vibrato, the things I'm talking about, and then I'll have that go into an auto tune, so that way it's fully tuning everything the way that I want. And I'll usually do them at the same time. So that way, with the auto tune, if it pulls something in a direction that I don't like, I can instantly call open the Melodyne and fix that problem and hear what it sounds like in real time and continue to adjust. So I'm usually using a combination of two tuners personally, and that's just my preference. But of course, a lot of these tuners do have a built-in graph mode, and if you haven't been utilizing that yet, I highly recommend you do so, because it'll be a lot more flexible and offer a lot more control over your vocal performance. Now, the fourth mistake that a lot of artists make when tuning vocals is they don't use vocal tuning for texture. Vocal tuning software usually adds some sort of presence or texture or effect to a vocal sound, even at its lightest sort of stages, right? So as an example, if you listen to Headlines by Drake, that song is mostly a rap performance that has some slight melodic components to it, but 40 ultimately used auto-tune and other tuning software, I'm sure, to make sure that that vocal performance stayed in key, and it kind of added this cool feeling and sound to Drake's vocal that most of us don't even notice. You wouldn't think of that being auto-tuned, but it is, right? So using auto-tune and other vocal tuning software for texture to just keep you in key or to just enhance the presence of your vocal is really, really great, especially on rap performance vocals. And the final mistake that a lot of artists make is they rely on tuning way too much. Back in the day, you used to not have access to these tools. You used to have to actually sing the vocal performance perfectly, and you would have to sit there all day until you actually got it right. Well, auto-tune is basically intended to save you all that time. You could just sing something 95% perfect and then have the tuner take it, to that final 5%. And that's how you should be using it. You should be trying to sing your notes and do your performance as perfectly as possible and rely on the tuning just a little bit to get it right. What I find happens is a lot of artists are coming to me asking me to mix their songs, but what they're doing is they're sending me vocals that are extremely off, and then when I tune them and it sounds drastically tuned, because that's what's going to happen, the sound of the tune is going to be very noticeable, they're upset and they complain about it, but the truth is they're giving me something that's broken in the first place, and that's why I'm telling you to do things like record into your vocal tuner in the first place and understand how tuning works, because if you don't understand these two fundamental things, your expectations are going to be out of whack, and you're always going to be upset when somebody tunes your vocal and you aren't getting the sound that you want. In order to get the sound that you want, you have to perform it as close to perfectly as possible and not rely on the tuning so much. By understanding this, you're going to be in a much better place, and your song is ultimately going to sound better. It's going to sound a lot more natural, but then at the same time, you can still dial up the settings if you want to get a more auto-tuned sound, right? Increasing the retune speed on auto-tune to get that more robotic feeling, as an example. Hopefully this makes sense, but I just want to make sure that expectations are in check when relying on vocal tuning. So hopefully you got value out of this video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you smash that like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I drop a video every single week, always focused on helping you sound better and helping you make more money with your music. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to see anything in a future video, leave it in the comments below. And I'm looking forward to helping you again. I'll see you soon. Peace.
5.